Today's writing lesson is about personal narrative. I want you to keep this in your mind, that a personal narrative is a true story from your own life. Now we move to this video. Writing a personal narrative paragraph is the same like other paragraphs in its form. You start with a topic sentence, you move to the supporting details, and then you write the ending sentence at the end. So what is a personal narrative? A personal narrative is a true story about your own life. So, with what do we start writing our personal paragraph, our personal narrative? With the setting, and the setting where and when, so place and time. He's giving you an example, like one dark stormy night last weekend I was home alone. So this is similar to the homework that is required from you to do. So here the place where it's in the home, when it's at night last weekend. So here you also mentioned in the topic sentence what happened. So in the topic sentence of the personal narrative paragraph, you should mention the setting, which is place and time, and what happened, which is here dark stormy night. So it was a dark stormy night. So this is what happened. Now, what was the main concept of the video? It's about personal narrative paragraph. What do you think are the steps of writing a personal narrative paragraph? Here we learned about the steps of writing a topic sentence in this paragraph, which contains the setting and how and what happened. Now, this is a small personal narrative paragraph. Let's read it together. Our new house. My family moved to a new house in Chile last year. First, I was very sad to leave my old house. Then I ran right up to my new bedroom on the day we moved to this house. Next, I looked out through the back window. The backyard was beautiful. A giant oak tree and a pond were in my yard. Finally, I was so surprised and definitely not sad anymore. So the title is Our New House. The setting is the place, new house in Chile, time last year. So it all started when my family moved to a new house. So the setting and when it's all started, this is what we included in the topic sentence. So setting and what happened. I was very sad. This is the problem, which is in the body, in the supporting details. The next thing that happened was that I looked out the window where the backyard was beautiful. So here we are moving toward the solution. So these are events in the body, in the supporting details. Finally, I was surprised. I will never forget this because everything was nice and beautiful. This is the ending sentence. So the solution will be in the ending sentence, the solution for the problem. So a personal narrative is a true story about something that happened with you. It offers real details from real life, from your real life. Sequence of events, it means that the details or the events that happened with you should be in time order. For example, you wake up, then you brush your teeth. So you cannot tell me, for example, I brush my teeth, then I wake up. So this is not a correct sequence of events. So it should be in the correct time order, and a personal opinion about the event that happened with the writer, which is you. You are the writer. The personal narrative should include beginning, middle, and ending. The beginning topic sentence, middle supporting details, and ending the ending sentence. So these remind you of something called the plot. So to remember what do we mean by a plot should have the beginning, a plot of a story or a plot of a paragraph. It should have the beginning, middle, and end. In the beginning, you mention the characters and setting, and here in the personal narrative, the character is you, so you use the pronoun I, the setting, place, and time. In the middle, you mention the problem and the details, the supporting details, the events that happened in the story, in your own story. And at the end, in the ending sentence, you mention the solution. How is the problem solved? And you can also mention what lesson did you learn from your own story? What is the lesson that you learned from this story? Also, you can mention your feelings. So all of these are mentioned in the ending sentence. In the middle, the problem and the details. In the beginning, you mention the setting and you tell us what happened with you. Okay, so now we move into this also. I want just to show you something. Okay. In a personal narrative paragraph, you should use words like I, me, my, mine. These words are very important because you're talking about yourself. Because you are talking about an event that happened with you, it should be about a single event. So this means that you should talk only about one event. One event, like for example, you are talking about how you lost your dog in the park. So this is what you are talking in your paragraph. You cannot add another main event, like you're talking about how you broke your dad's telephone and something like this. So here you have two events, and this is wrong in the personal narrative paragraph. You should talk only about one event. In personal narrative paragraph, focus on a small moment from your life, so one single event. Write it the same way you would tell it to someone, but for sure in the correct form: topic, sentence, supporting details, and ending sentence. Start with a catchy lead. You should attract the reader to continue your paragraph. Use details to tell what, who, where, and how something happened. Have a beginning, middle, and end. And describe people, places, and things. Use order words, or what we call transitions, which are first, then, next, moreover, in addition to, and at last, to pay attention to your spelling and capitalization. So, okay, I want just to show you this as a summary to what narrative writing tells a story about yourself or about something that happened with you. It can be real or make-believe. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Narrative writing has characters, and here the character is yourself, is you, so you use the pronoun I. The narrative writing has a setting, which is a place and time. The narrative writing has sequential order. As we said before, when you are going to talk about the events that happened with you, they should be in the correct time order, using the order words or the transitions: first, then, next, moreover, in addition to, finally. And what can you write about in a personal narrative writing? You can write about your family, something that happened with you at the beach, when you lost a tooth, and so on. Now we move to this graphic organizer. It's important to know that in the beginning, which means we have the topic sentence in the beginning, you must mention the setting, the place, and the time. The character, it's a story about yourself, so use the pronoun I, and you mention what happened. For example, last summer I lost my dog in the camping place. So here you mentioned the time, the place, and what happened. In the middle, you mentioned the problem and the main events or the details that happened with you, to reach the end with the solution to this problem. And you can mention what did you learn from this story, from the things that happened with you in your own story. You can also mention your feelings. For example, here we have a short personal narrative. It's talking about his fear from the exam. Let's see. I was very nervous before the math exam this morning. I had studied well, but was afraid that the exam would be too hard. So this is the topic sentence, and he mentioned the time and what happened with him, and the place is clear. It's a school. So, supporting detail number 1. Although I had prepared well, I was reviewing the exercises all morning, trying to solve them once again. I didn't even talk to my friends, and they noticed that I felt worried. So this is mainly the problem. When the teacher distributed the exam, a big smile went down my face. I felt relieved when I saw how easy the questions were. So here we are moving towards the solution, and at the end, I tried my best, and I learned that I should believe in myself. So this is the solution. And I mentioned what I learned, what lesson I learned from this story. Now we move to something very important. It's a personal narrative. It's a personal narrative paragraph. And I would like to see such paragraph in your homework, such a well-organized paragraph in your homework. Now let's read. My dad and I were getting ready to go out for a ride on the boat with the dog on a hot summer day in chill, but a phone call made that bright day a dark one. So here it is highlighted in blue color to show you that this is the topic sentence, and we mentioned the time, which is summer day, the place, chill, and what happened. A phone call made that bright day a dark one. So this is the topic sentence containing the setting and what happened. First, I had just put on my suit and packed my bag with sunscreen and everything needed. Then I ran into my parents' room to find Dad crying on the phone, telling me that Susie had died. Susie had a rare disease that mainly affected her body. Although she couldn't live a normal life, she was still happy. Next, when Susie and I were little, we spent quite a bit of time together. As we grew up, we became best friends. Moreover, about 8 months before she died, we talked at least twice a week until the end. Susie was always so excited to talk to me and wanted to know everything. In addition to, I remember crying so hard at her funeral and my whole body was shaking. At last, I learned so much from her and she gave me more than I could ever give to her. So this is the solution, and this is the ending sentence, and the solution and the lesson learned is mentioned in the ending sentence. Now, I want you to pause the video here and read this paragraph for 2 or 3 times in order to understand it well. Then move with me to this graphic organizer. Usually, for sure, the graphic organizer must be done before the paragraph, but here I did it after the paragraph in order for you to understand what we should put in this in each of these boxes, which is also found on page 47 in your book. Now, what happened? A phone call made that bright day a dark one. When did it happen? It happened on a hot summer day. So this is the time. And the place where did it happen? It happened in chill. So these 3 boxes should be mentioned in the topic sentence. Okay, now we move to the body or to the supporting details. Here you can mention only one detail, the main event that happened with you, and you mention the rest of the events in the paragraph, or you can mention all of them here or part of them here and you continue them in the paragraph. So one of the main event is that I ran into my parents' room to find Dad crying on the phone, telling me that Susie had died. Now, is there a problem? Yes, there is a problem. Susie died. I remember crying so hard at her funeral and my whole body was shaking. So the problem and the main event or the rest of the events are all in the supporting details in the body. Now we move to the ending sentence. You should mention the solution and the feelings or the lesson you learned, which is I learned so much from her and she gave me more than I could ever give to her. So this is what you should put in the graphic organizer. You should write like this in your graphic organizer on page 47. Now, if I go to your homework, which is page 47, 48, think of an incident that happened to you when you were home alone. Fill in the graphic organizer and join your ideas to write your personal narrative. You can think you must follow the same strategy here. It must be in this way, and you can, for example, get some ideas from this movie Home Alone. You can get some ideas, and why not to put them in your story? Some extra ideas. It will be more interesting. You will make your story more interesting. So this is it. I hope I made it easier for you. Now the last thing. This is the whole conclusion. A personal narrative is a story about something that happened to you.